So I want to go over a quick way to paint a whole lot of stuff without necessarily going completely crazy. So here I have a ton of miniatures, and these are all the miniatures for Massive Darkness. Or almost all of them. I didn't get the reptiles pack. And basically what I'm doing right now is I've got all of my different regular minion types up front, and then all the roaming monsters are the bigger ones in the back. And some of them are huge. And I actually just started priming them with some black primer, and I'm basically using Chaos Black. I'm actually going to do my heroes in white, but yeah, that's all we're doing. Is we're just going to prime them all in black, and I want some different. You can prime them in whatever color you want, but I'm going to do the heroes in white, and I'm going to do all the monsters in black, and that's kind of how this is going to go. This year, well ventilated too. This stuff stinks. And now we've got them all done in black, and I'm going to take some Corax white and kind of do the heroes real quick. Alright, and now we're done. I actually probably should have separated these because I got a little bit of white primer on some of these guys, a little bit at the very, very bottom, but not a big deal. We're kind of going very casual here, and I keep everybody grouped apart because there's actually some reason to do that, because all of these guys are going to be kind of a similar color, and then all these guys are going to be a different color, and all these guys are going to be a different color, and all these guys are going to be a different color, because they're different units, and when they're all in one bag, it makes it really hard. And then all the big guys in the back, they're much more easy to identify because they're so large. So they can all be kind of their own individual color schemes. So now basically the next step is that I want to line up all my guys of a certain type, and I'm going to do different kind of color schemes for all of them. I'm doing like a dark blue, I'm going to do a two-tone with then like a lighter bluish green over the top. And so I'm going to just do them all at once, and I'm going to get kind of all of the bodies and the side views, everything that the light isn't hitting from above, and kind of base them in that. And this is just, and then once this is done and I get all of them done, I can go back over the top and do like a top-down approach with all of them, whereas like the light might come down from above, and it'll illustrate different parts of the miniature and bring out some more of that. See, I'm not getting them completely, I'm just getting certain areas. So all like the recesses and the parts that I can't hit from the side are going to remain black, and it's going to keep a lot of that the contours of the miniature. And I'm going to do both front and back for these. So once I get them all done, I'll spin them around and get the backs as well. This is kind of a darker blue here. So basically now they're all at darker blue, and I'm going to come back with a bright green over the top, and basically try to get like the light shining on them, just get some contrast from above. It's not really going to come in from the side with these. Kind of like that. We'll let those dry for a little bit and we'll take a closer. All right, so we're mostly done here. This would actually be a fine stopping point. I've got my two-tone, I've got blue and green on these guys, and I think they look pretty good. There's a lot of detail showing up, but if you wanted to do a little bit more, one of the things you could do is put a wash on them to kind of sink into some of the recesses that have paint in there. One of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to try and add a little highlight to each one, and I'm going to use some of this Stormhost Silver and just do the weapons on each one. So this way each one will have a little bit of highlighting, and it's as simple as just getting a little brush here and going to each one and just trying to just get the blades to really make a little extra part of them stand out, especially because we want the blades to stand out. So like kind of like that, and I'm going to cover all the blades. So I'm going to do this for all of them. It won't take long because each mini will only take about 20 seconds or so. And here we are complete with all of the goblins, and the bows I went and did brown. So at least each unit has a little highlight, and there's some of the bosses in the back. And we're going to do all of the different armies this way. We're just going to do a different color scheme for each one. So just to give an update now, at this point, I've done all of the swords and bows for these guys, but I've also gone back and done all of my other armies. So here I've got the goblins. I kind of did like a purple with like a sky blue, and then here I did my dwarves. I did them with like a sky blue base with a yellow top, and then I've got my troglodytes here, which I've done kind of like a red base with a light blue top. And, and some of these came out pretty good. Like, let's see if I can get that to focus there. But, yeah, I'm digging, like, if you look at it from a view, it's kind of easier to tell which guys are which. And I did my heroes, too. And since I didn't want the heroes to ever get confused with the monsters, that's why I kind of based them in white. And here I've just kind of done fleshy tones. They're not completely white right now. They actually have kind of like a goldy flesh. I mix a little bit of yellow and a hint of red with some flesh just to kind of get it kind of a goldenish overtone. And I might go back and dry brush them over with white again. I put a little bit of white on top. Also, you can see some of the contrast there. This was really, really quick, and all of this just took me probably about 2 hours total, minus the individual detailing I have on these guys, where I did their blades. And that's something you can do. You can go back and add like little highlights, like guys like these, for example, these troglodytes with their big old swords. I'm probably going to want to go back and do their swords, because that's one detail you can do to just make them stand out even more. And it's still going to be easy to tell who's who, what army they belong to. They almost look like frost giants from Hades, right? And then the dwarves, I could do the same thing. Although I hit the airbrush a little closer with a little bursts of yellow on their weapons. But this is a great. I mean, like, now granted, this isn't something maybe you want to do for your heroes or your bigger units. And of course, with Massive Darkness now, there are roaming monsters. These are like your big bad monsters that will show up, and these minis are much larger. Like, look, than your typical units. But so these guys, you may want to actually do them with more detail and everything. But the idea for this tutorial is just to go ahead and do these guys with a lot of, a little bit of detail, but really, really quick. So anytime you have to paint a massive amount of stuff and you don't think you really need a tremendous amount of detail, this is one way to do it. And I like the idea that you can just it's functional because it's easier to tell. Like, one of the problems I had with this game, with all of the stretch goals and everything, was going through a bag saying, okay, I need 3 orc warriors or whatever, and trying to find the orcs because they're all the same color plastic. It was a little bit difficult we were able to get it done, but I said, this is something I could improve upon. I could just make them all different colors. And that's it. So this is just been a quick kind of tutorial for running through and just some ideas. I could see doing stuff like this. You can do stuff like this in other games too. Like, you could do something like this for, let's say, maybe for Legion, when maybe the ATST comes out and you want to do 2 tones of like a gray and a silver, or like a black and gray for your ATST or something like that. You can alternate doing stuff like this. This is also, you can do multiple like flesh tones or something like that for any, like if they ever do creatures, or even for your troopers, for your people that have human faces, doing that for that part, and then going back over with the brush afterwards. You can do that. And if any model, like let's say I've got a barbarian that's got a lot of flesh on him. Well, you know what? We can start off, just putting our base colors down, and then just go over and do the little bits of clothes and stuff that are remaining. But then I won't get stuck having to do paint flesh and worry about like, oh, is my flesh color gonna overwrite his armband there. It's easier just to paint the armband, paint over it, and just do flesh over the whole thing. And that works a lot of times, sometimes for your heroes that have flesh colors and stuff like that. One problem I am still working through, though, because I'm not a super expert in, is that sometimes my paints get a little splotchy. Like right here, if I can get it to zoom in, you can see some, like, we got a little extra, like, just dots and splotches that'll come out sometimes. And a lot of that just is the balance of thinning out the paints and everything, because I'm not using actual airbrush paints. I'm using the Reaper paints. and they require thinning, but they're easy to squeeze out because of the squeeze bottles. So fun stuff. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and let me know what you think, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe, click the bell for alerts. Let me know in the comment section below what you think. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day.